Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're going to be doing a full day review and wear test of the new Givenchy Prisme Libre Glow Serum Foundation. So this just came out this week. I have the shade 0.5C, which I believe is the second lightest. Given that this is Givenchy, this is a very pricey foundation. This retails for $61 US or 82.50 Canadian. So this does have a 12-month shelf life and is made in France. This also has 1 fluid ounce of product, which is pretty standard. This is also available in 30 shades, which sounds pretty good, but when you actually look at the shade range, it's not. So just keep that in mind. So this is supposed to be a lightweight, hydrating, non-comedogenic, skincare-infused foundation with a natural finish and buildable coverage that blurs and improves skin over time. So this does sound amazing, and I will be honest, I did wear this yesterday and I really liked it. But this is what the inner packaging looks like. So the bottle is very pretty. It is a heavy glass bottle. You do get the standard Givenchy sort of logo right here. I will say the cap is just a hard plastic and the pump is actually just a hard plastic as well. I don't think the lid or the pump feel that expensive, but as long as they perform well, that's really all that matters. So let's pin the hair back and we can get to putting this on the face. All right, that looks a little crazy, but that's fine. We're gonna get into this. So I am just going to take a pump of this on my palette. So it just looks like this. It is definitely a very liquidy formula. It does say that it is a more serum-based formula, so I expected that. And the instructions on Sephora do say to apply with a dense brush or a sponge. But if you want a more light coverage, to go in with a damp sponge. So I actually did try both of those yesterday. I used my BK Beauty 101 because I thought this was pretty dense, but these actually gave me a lighter coverage than I expected. So when I went in with my dry Real Technique sponge, that actually did work pretty well. But today I want to start trying to apply with my Sigma F47. I know this isn't really dense, but I do kind of want to see what it looks like when I apply with this brush. So I'm just going to pick that up off my palette. And this shade is a pretty good match for me. So very good shade match. I do want to mention, like most fashion house foundations, this definitely does have a fragrance. So if that is something that bothers you, please do keep that in mind. I think this is more of a floral scent. I describe the Dior Hydra Nude foundation as having a very clean scent. I would say this one is similar, but I think the scent of this is definitely leaning more floral, and it is quite strong. So just keep that in mind if you are sensitive to fragrance. Okay, this brush is applying this foundation so beautifully, even better than my 101 from BK Beauty. So I am going to keep applying this way because I like this brush for this foundation. I wasn't 100% sure because I think this brush is a little less dense than the BK Beauty, but actually liking the application better. And I should mention, I did just prep my skin with my Rough Intense Hydration Cream, nothing else. All right, so this is what we are looking like. One side with the foundation, the other side without. My skin is definitely going through it at the moment, so I definitely want something with a bit of coverage, and this actually does give me a nice amount of coverage. I don't know what I was expecting, but whenever I go into a more serum-based product, I'm definitely not expecting much in terms of coverage. One thing I'm really liking right away is that I ordered the shade 0.5C, so it should have a cooler undertone, and this one definitely does. This one definitely does lean a little bit more pinky. I probably could have gone with a neutral shade, but I like that this one is actually leaning pinky for a cooler undertone and not yellow. Some of these foundations, no matter what, they just have yellow in them. So I really like the beautiful medium coverage that I got on this side, but let's move to the other side and then I'll come back and maybe try to build this just a little bit more. But so far I do think it looks really seamless, and although it's glowy, it's not giving me like a glass skin effect. It's just kind of giving me that sort of, I used a really good moisturizer effect this morning. Kind of look to the skin, which is something I also really love from my NARS foundation. I also really wanted to review the new Lawless foundation because that one is supposed to be very full coverage, but it had a very strange release on Sephora Canada. They had it for app early access on release day, but it was showing out of stock, and then the next day when it was supposed to be available to everyone, it was just gone off the website. So I don't know if it's coming to Sephora Canada, which is really frustrating because it was there to begin with. Although I have heard some people say that it does pull a bit warm and a little bit yellow, so Maybe it's a blessing that I didn't get it. This is lovely though. So far I'm not sad that I picked this one up. I did wear it yesterday, like I mentioned, and I really, really liked it. Okay, so that is the foundation all done on both sides. Let's go back in with a little bit more. I want to see if I can build this up and see what kind of coverage level we can get with this. It does say it's buildable, so. Okay, I do feel like I got a little bit more, and it was really, really seamless to blend in. This shade match is so good too. I do think it retains a little bit of a tackiness to the skin, so this isn't one I think that is going to fully dry down. Just grabbing a little bit more. So this is officially 2 pumps, but I want to add more in the areas where I need a little extra love. So I do think I was able to build it up to a solid medium coverage. I definitely loves the F47 from Sigma, so if you have this brush, this is perfect for this foundation. The dry sponge did work very, very well and got me a very similar coverage level, but I will say I don't like smacking my face with a really dry sponge. So I do recommend that Sigma brush, but overall I think this looks really, really nice. So I'm just going to grab a bit of concealer. I'm just using my Westman Atelier. All right, just going in under those under eyes. I mentioned in a recent video that I've been really, really struggling with allergies. I don't know to what, but I've definitely been struggling a little bit. And I'm finally getting some relief from that, so that feels really, really nice. Just blending that in. The Westman Atelier definitely gives a pretty full coverage. In terms of concealer, this is a work day, so I am starting this wear test around 6 a.m. And I do have a very busy day ahead, so I'm hoping to wear this as long as I possibly can. All right, I feel like that concealer worked very, very well with the foundation. And I think since we're using the Givenchy foundation, I may as well just use my powder. This is the original formula. This is not the reformulated version. I still love this so much. I've, of course, heard all of the negative reviews of the new powder, but I've heard a couple say that it's really not that bad. So part of me thinks I need to try it for myself, and I probably will. I probably will order a mini just to see for myself, but I still want to make this one last as long as I can because I love it so much. I really haven't found a powder that tops how this looks on the skin, the way it just sort of softens everything, it blurs everything. I know powders are meant to do that, but I mean, some powders just make everything look super dry and powdery, but this doesn't give a powdery effect. It just mattifies and blurs, but it doesn't look like you're wearing a heavy powder. That's what makes this special. Now, I do find this foundation definitely retains some of the tackiness, so if you don't like that sort of finish, then you will want to powder your whole face. I know I have definitely been getting away from that more luminous type foundations, but the main thing I'm trying to get away from is the overly glowy foundations. The ones that do provide a soft luminosity that looks more skin-like and a little bit more, I have a good moisturizer on kind of effect as opposed to that glass skin. Those ones are fine. I am good with a natural finish, with a natural luminous glow. I'm just not really loving the foundations that give that sort of glazed donut effect, if you know what I mean. So this is what it looks like with the foundation, concealer, and powder all done, and I think it looks so nice. I think my skin looks so smooth. It has just the right amount of glow, just the right amount of coverage. I'm really, really loving how this looks. The only thing I don't love is that it does retain a little bit of that tackiness, so if I don't set certain areas, I do think my hair will get stuck to my face a little bit, which might make me crazy. So I will just keep note of that, but I have set all of the main areas. And let me pop off camera. I will quickly finish up the rest of my makeup and then I can get this wear test started. All right, so the rest of the makeup is done and I'm still really, really liking how my foundation looks. I know my skin is definitely acting up, but I definitely think this foundation made it look as good as it possibly can right now, and I'm really happy with that. It definitely feels very, very lightweight on the skin. The only thing I don't love, like I mentioned, is that it does retain a little bit of that tackiness, so your hair might stick to your face a little bit, but it doesn't seem to be too bad so far. But I do feel like it just looks very, very smooth on my skin and is definitely giving me a natural kind of radiance, and it's definitely giving that very natural finish. And of course, paired with the Givenchy powder, I feel like it really paired well with that, but overall, I think it just looks really, really good, really flawless, and so comfortable and lightweight. So I am really, really happy with how this looks so far, and I am more than happy to keep wearing this throughout the day. I also think the shade match is pretty much perfect. So also something that makes me happy, but I will go about the rest of my day, which is just going to be a really busy work day. I will, of course, step into natural lighting. I am not going outside. It is -20 Celsius outside right now, so I'm not going out there, but I will get some natural lighting shots, and I will see you at the end of the day for my final thoughts. All right, so just stepping into natural lighting for a moment, I feel like my skin actually looks so smooth and flawless. I mean, you can see a little bit of texture, but I think that just adds to the natural finish that this foundation is giving me, and I love it. It really has just the right amount of luminosity, and I just think it looks really, really pretty. And in this lighting, I'm even more convinced that the shade match is perfect, so I also love that. But so far, so good. I'm really, really liking this, and it still does feel super lightweight. All right, so it is just about 5:30, so the makeup has been on for a solid 11 hours at this point. So I figured it was okay to call it, just so that I could at least get started on editing at some point. But this foundation still looks so good. I cannot believe how much I like this. This had a very, very similar wear time that it did yesterday when I wore it for the first time. I feel like it just stays put. I feel that it absolutely gives a very soft radiance to the skin. Yes, there's a glow, but it's just the right amount of glow where it looks natural and healthy, but it's not too much. It's just the perfect amount. Now, I did say when I was initially applying this that it didn't fully dry down, so it did have a certain tackiness, and I was worried that my hair was going to be sticking to my face. But I actually found that after a few hours, it really did end up setting down to feel more like a moisturizer and not like a tacky foundation anymore. So I didn't have any issues with my hair sticking to my face, which was a big plus. As for powder, I did powder my T-zone, so my forehead, straight down the middle, my chin, and then under my eyes. But the areas where I didn't powder, so this sort of area right here, still held onto the foundation. It still looks really, really nice. And this is the exact area that I was mentioning. I was worried about my hair sticking to my face, but I did not experience that. So I really noticed that this felt very, very lightweight on my skin all day long. I absolutely forgot that I was wearing a foundation. It's very, very comfortable. It gave a very soft glow. It definitely had a more skin-like finish. So it really just looked like I was having a really good skin day. And that is my absolute favorite type of foundation. So this gave a very similar effect to what I described with my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation, where it has a glow to it, but it's not overly glowy. And when I catch a glimpse of my skin in the mirror throughout the day, I kind of think to myself that I'm having a good skin day. And then I remember that I'm wearing the makeup, and that happens every single time I wear the NARS. So I noticed that today too, which made me really, really happy. And I just loved the overall effect that this had on my skin. If anything, I'm looking at my under eyes and thinking they look really dry, but that is the Westman Atelier concealer. So overall, I absolutely loved how this wore on me throughout the day today. I loved how it wore on me yesterday as well. I definitely found it applied best with my Sigma F47. So a dense brush or a dry sponge is definitely going to be your best application method if you're trying to maximize that coverage. But if you want a lighter coverage, you can definitely go in with a damp sponge and get that as well, or even a less dense brush. But I love the coverage that I was able to get with this. I love the soft luminosity. I was a little worried because it does say it's a glow serum foundation, but it's not glowy as in glass skin. You're wearing a super glowy foundation. It's glowy in the sense that your skin is really hydrated and comfortable, and it's just a really nice luminosity. It has a beautiful skin-like finish, so it really doesn't look overly made up, but it does allow you to look a lot more perfected. And it is definitely very long wearing. Like right now, I'm going on 11 hours with this and I think it looks fantastic. Yesterday I was well over the 12-hour mark and I thought it looked fantastic. Things I don't like about this are, first of all, the price tag, but it is Givenchy, so that is something to be kept in mind. I will say the cap and the pump do feel very inexpensive. That being said, if the pump performs well, then it's not a big deal, but I will say they do feel very inexpensive. Like if you think about the pump on the Dior foundation, this feels much more high quality than what's on the Givenchy. And the cap, I would say, feels a lot more hard and sturdy. So that is just a minor detail to note. I also don't love how strong the scent is of this, and to me it definitely has more of a floral fragrance, so just keep that in mind if you can't stand fragrance. But overall, this is absolutely a foundation I'm going to be wearing quite a bit. I am really excited for this. I think it looks so good on my skin. The shade match is perfect. I love how comfortable it is. I absolutely love this. If you're interested in checking it out, I will keep wearing it, of course, and give you all of my final thoughts at the end of the month in my speed reviews. I am also working on another beauty battle video, but I am guessing that is now going to be delayed because I want to feature this and I need to keep testing it a little bit more before I do that. But you will definitely see that in there as well, because I want to compare it to some other foundations that I've really, really loved that offer a lot of very similar properties. So overall, absolutely love this. This was a very successful wear test today, but let me know all of your thoughts down below. I love hearing from you guys. Were you interested in this one? Did you even see this one come out? Let me know. And if you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload new videos every single week. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!